podcast is just our opinions and facts gathered on the internet, and we do not wish to offend or cause any harm. Quick apology for mistakes we make in this podcast, whether it's saying the wrong thing, getting our facts wrong, or a bad pronunciation of names, cities, and etc. We also do not have the correct equipment yet, and we're calling over FaceTime overseas. Therefore, please excuse our sound quality, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello and welcome to Alex Taylor.
And this is Cara Moore, and you're listening to Alex and Cara's A Gen Z Convo.
Today we'll be discussing the importance of representation and the negative effects of bad representation after I give you a 5-minute rundown of the past week's news. Covered by Cara. Take it over.
Thanks, Alex. So, after a turbulent year, OnlyFans is getting a new CEO. OnlyFans creator Tim Stokely said on Monday that he will stand down as CEO of the video subscription service. After 5 years at the leadership of the firm, Stokely announced on Instagram that he is moving on to other challenges. OnlyFans' new CEO will be Rapali Gunn. I'm so sorry. And that was completely incorrect. Who joined the company as its chief marketing and communications officer last year. Thai authorities announced on Thursday that they had discovered crystal meth with a market worth about $3 million hidden inside boxing punch bags heading for Australia. According to Thai and Australian officials investigating the case, customs agents scrutinized the consignment after becoming suspicious of the Thai-made training equipment, which is not high in demand in Australia. The narcotics, often known as ice, weighed more than 193 kilograms or 425 pounds and were stashed in 15 separate bags. A Thai customs inspector surrounded by cameras ripped through a lengthy cardboard box and the crimson outer covering of the boxing bag, revealing the narcotics hidden amid the stuffing. Acting Superintendent Joel Carthers of the Australian Border Force claimed Australia's consumes around 11 tons of meth per year. Australian Border Force Acting Superintendent Joel Carthers said. So there's a market for it, and disrupting it off shores in countries such as Thailand is fantastic. Wow, I think we covered. I think you for the fun end last week you also did. It was like they were hiding drugs in orange
Juice boxes,
orange juice boxes. Yeah, people are getting
so much more creative because there's like ways that people stop these illegal transportations.
Yeah, definitely. So a fire ripped through a launch of the Shiganda River in Bangladesh, killing at least 38 people, an official said on Friday. We have recovered 38 bodies so far, said Kalam Hussein Bunyan, a senior fire officer in Jakarta's southern district, where the tragedy occurred at 3 a.m. local time. The fire occurred in the engine room of the launch, which was traveling from Dhaka to Bagunda through Jakarta, according to Bunyan. I'm so sorry for my pronunciation through the whole 5-minute news. I'm not very good at it. So, according to Zohar Ali, Jakarta's district administrator, the death toll may rise higher because more than 50 people have not been brought to hospitals, with some passengers still missing and others in serious condition. The cause of the fire remains unknown at the time. Because the jury. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say it was so tragic, and we give you. I wish you my condolences, and I think our condolences. Yeah. I'm not good today either. And you did great. Your pronunciation was great. Don't doubt yourself.
Are you sure? Because I think everyone else may disagree with you.
You're trying. So.
Okay. There you go. Okay, let's move on. So, because the jury failed to reach a judgment in its first week of deliberation, Elizabeth Holmes' fate in her criminal fraud trial would not be decided before Christmas. The jury of 8 men and 4 women ended its deliberations. Thursday, soon after 3 p.m. local time, following more than 20 hours of discussion over 3 days this week. On Monday morning, the jury will begin deliberations. Jurors expressed curiosity in how Theranos' former CEO and founder sold investigators while operating the bankrupt blood testing firm earlier on Thursday. If you have not heard of this case of Elizabeth Holmes yet, then be sure to watch the documentary on it. It's called The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. But basically the premise of it was this woman, Elizabeth Holmes, dropped out of college to start a blood testing firm called Theranos, where instead of having your blood tested, like, you know how you have to like do like the whole tube thing and take up like a decent amount of blood, she thought of how you could just do a finger prick and just get like 1 or 2 drops of blood, and they have like amazing technology on how they can test the blood for any diseases or any kind of test that you want. And instead of taking days, it would take a couple hours only, and it was super accurate. But then they kind of started realizing that it was like a super big fraud. And I think at the end of the thing, Theranos was worth over like $9 billion. And then they kind of found out that everything was fake. They were giving their like patients fake results and stuff. And it was just like super big. I think it's been going on for like, the trial's been going on for like 6 years or something.
Yeah.
But definitely watch the documentary. It's like super interesting. All right. So the next one, moving on. So official numbers reveal that the rising number of Omicron cases has pushed COVID rates to new highs in England, with 1 in 35 people infected across the country and 1 in 20 in London. The Office for National Statistics estimate that over 3% of the population, or 1,544,600 people in England, had COVID between December 13 and 19th, based on random swab tests done in the community, with infections rates higher than previous weeks in all areas except for the Southwest. Trump spokesman Taylor Buttigieg on Friday sued the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th riot to prevent it from obtaining his financial documents from J.P. Morgan, which is also the name of the lawsuit. I don't actually understand how lawsuits work and why they have to make it sound like they're people, but you know, there's that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like it makes no sense, but I guess it sounds cool when you say it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Buttigieg and other Trump allies involved in planning stop-the-steal rallies, including the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., before the U.S. Capitol attack, were subpoenaed by the committee last month. According to the lawsuit, Buttigieg cooperated with the subpoena producing almost 1,700 pages of records and delivering about 4 hours of sworn testimony, and that was in quotes. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States has added 8 additional tourist locations to its highest risk category, Finland, Lebanon, and the country that was the world's most visited until COVID came along among them. Lebanon. What did I say?
Lebanon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lebanon. On Monday, the microstates of Monaco and San Marino, 2 of the world's richest countries, were upgraded from unknown to level 4, the greatest level of risk. At sea, things aren't much better. During a week-long Caribbean cruise earlier this month, over 50 individuals tested positive for coronavirus, and 2 ships this week recorded COVID cases and missed ports of call. Wow, it's you know how you like think that it's gonna get better and then it doesn't get better, but then it does get better.
Oh my gosh, every time. Like, okay, we're going back to normal now. Okay, that's really nice. And then a new variant pops up.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, isn't it? It's never gonna
It's like it's so different everywhere in the week. Yeah. So a little positive news on the COVID end, just like we were literally just talking about. It's bad somewhere, it's a little better somewhere else. So just kind of stick with it. We're gonna get through this together. So this week there is some news for Southern Africa, some good news for Southern Africa. Following the discovery of Omicron in South Africa in late November, the U.S. expects to relax travel restrictions on 8 nations within the area soon.
Yay.
Yeah, at least it's getting better somewhere. It's not getting great somewhere else, but yeah,
it's fine.
We'll all get through this together, and eventually we will be able to live life like we did before.
Yeah.
Hope.
I think, yeah, definitely. Okay, well.
Right, let's move on to the topic. This part is where I'm getting excited.
So today's topic, like all the others, is again super interesting. Why do we call every topic interesting? Because it is. But like,
because it is. Yeah, because
like
it is.
Word.
Maybe it's interesting to us because it's also like a learning experience for us as well as you guys.
I mean, there are so many other words we can describe it as, you know. Very intriguing.
Educational.
Intriguing.
Yeah, fascinating.
Exceptional. I don't know. But like, interesting it is, I guess.
Yeah. I think not talked about.
Not talked about. Great.
Yeah.
So today we'll discuss the importance of representation and the negative effects of bad representation, where individuals of color and women are stereotyped in the media as violent criminals, the help, terrorists, submissive characters, overly sexualized beings, uneducated people, and more or less other groups considered to be less of value and importance. In movies, TV shows, books, and all forms of media, not excluding non-fictional news and documentaries. Let's discuss examples and some history as well of misrepresentation, which we'll go into further detail later. So, now we'll go into further detail now. So in the early 18th century, plays, books, and such portrayed African Americans as uneducated, clownish, and animalistic. I think this is still continued to this day. I can see, especially in news stories, where especially when white people commit a crime, they're seen like happy with their families and like very innocent, like, whilst African Americans get their mugshot online. And I think that's a huge difference. Even, what was that QAnon dude called?
Huh?
The QAnon guy
like
who killed his children.
The guy with the horns?
No, the guy who killed his children.
Oh, yeah.
His photo.
I don't remember his name.
On the news was literally him with his children. Like, whom he killed. Like, him with his children who he killed. Honestly, it just doesn't make sense to me because they should be given the mug shot treatment as well. Just very anyways, furthermore, African Americans were denied the chance to even represent themselves, like play themselves on stage, as whites carried out blackfacing, which is where they paint themselves with paint to appear darker.
Yeah, or whitewashing even.
Yeah, and well, not really, because they're like exaggerated, stereotypical.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very degrading. It's reinforcing white supremacy and displaying so much disrespect. And to this day, African Americans are still being portrayed violent, bad, uneducated, and more. And they also appear less on screens, especially as main characters. I mean, they should be appearing more because they do represent part of that society, and we should be able to see them more. It's not just the whites that live on this earth. So, anyways, additionally, Latinas.
Yeah, and also, sorry, I just had another example that I remembered was that the film Black Panther, which was the first ever Marvel film that featured a black actor, black character as a main character, was released only in 2018.
Yeah.
And Marvel has been around for so long as well, and Black Panther was probably one of the most famous comics within the Marvel universe as well, and it was released it was really recent as well. It took them so long to release that.
And that film was so good. And it's still not...
Yeah, it was a badass. The characters were incredible.
Yeah, but it's still not as celebrated as other white-led films, you know?
Yeah.
So that sucks. So another stereotypical role that I would like to discuss is Latinas, how they are often casted as being crazy, insane, and hot-headed, as well as overly sexualized. And I think there's an example. You know, Gloria. Oh, you haven't watched Modern Family, but Gloria Pritchett of the Modern Family, she's described as exactly that. And
who is she played by?
Gloria Pritchett. Oh, Sofia Vergara. She's so sweet. Anyways.
Oh, she's hilarious.
She's funny. And I don't know, I just don't like this stereotype. I don't like any stereotypes, but I do really love the show Modern Family. It's like my childhood, basically, but it's still very, you know, it does have some bad elements to it, because it does overly stereotype the gays as well, and just... I don't like stereotyping, as you can tell. And these are a few examples I can think of, but is there any more you want to add, Cara?
I can't think of anything at the top of my head, but I guess this could be completely incorrect. But I've kind of I don't know how to say this. It's almost like a lot of Black female characters, usually who played the sidekick, are seen to be portrayed as the sassy friend, and that's kind of the only quality they have. I could be completely wrong, but that's just what I was thinking.
One thing I want to add is them. They're also the sidekicks and never the main character, which is so sad. Okay. Inclusion and fair representation of women, African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, LGBTQs, and disabled individuals are also terrible. In all, 29.2% of all characters were from unrepresented racial/ethnic groups, which is significantly lower than the United States Census, 38.7%, and the country's and according to USC's Annenberg School of Communication, from 900 movies. And that is so low, because 29.2% is so much lower than the 38.7% that should be represented in movies.
Anyway. Yeah, and even 38.7% isn't a very high number, and even reducing that down to 29% as well. It's almost a 10% difference.
Yeah, terrible. Furthermore, in 2017, only 2 out of 10 leading actors, or 19.8%, were people of color, according to the UCLA Hollywood Diversity Report. I mean, 2 out of 10. That's very upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's really low. 2 out of 10.
38.7%. Or, I mean, it's so much lower than that too. It's lower than 29.2%, and now it's 19.8%. So very upsetting. As a result of this underrepresentation, detrimental beliefs and harmful opinions may emerge. Media has had a huge influence on children as they develop their beliefs and behavior, as well as teenagers as they search for their identity and their place in society, as we all know. And according to a Forbes article, general media can exacerbate racial tensions and have a negative impact on confidence and self-esteem. The author explains how racial and gender biases in popular media correspond with decreasing self-esteem for girls and Black boys, as predicted in a study of prolonged television exposure. And as a result, a lack of representation is terrible. Misrepresentation is a serious problem, with serious ramifications. In my opinion, I feel that misrepresentation is worse than lack of representation because if they don't do it right, they cause more harm. Stereotyping is a good example of this, and according to the Arab Film and Media Institute, stereotyping is when racial, ethnic, gender, sexual, religious, or other identities are used to make assumptions or judgments about others. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think it's equally as bad, but then having incorrect misrepresentation, I think, is probably worse because it's not confusing, I guess, but it's just like wrong and it's like misinformation basically, and we see how dangerous misinformation was, and still is. And we also kind of covered misinformation in our COVID conspiracy episode. I just remembered.
It was amazing, and yeah, I feel like this just adds to like police brutality and other things that really add to our societal problems. And I really don't like this, but I feel like for me, stereotyping probably comes out of just a single story being told and media focusing on that, and media plays a huge role in this. So if they focus on that single side of one like race, one ethnicity and such, it creates a picture of that, which is hard to erase. I think that picture will last for a long time, and we can see that because those like stereotypes have still that are like have been created hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They have not been erased, and they have still continued to take a strong place in society to this day.
Yeah, I think that is such an interesting point that you bring up because I've recently been wondering during the topic that you've been talking about, where stereotyping actually like starts, and like how we even like have it in the first place. Because like I will be completely honest, I'm I'm also someone that has stereotyped people before, and I realize it's bad, but it's almost like subconsciously. And I mean, that's a really interesting point that you brought up.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we're all at some point in our lives have stereotyped people before, and that's also an interesting point because we do it subconsciously, and it's just so like it's so programmed deep into like our brains and stuff that we just do it without thinking.
I mean, in no way, shape, or form is that like like we're not trying to make an excuse for like the things we did wrong. It's like, yeah. I mean, I realize I'm stereotyping people. I never actually like realize until like afterwards.
Yeah. And then you feel bad. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, and then you're like, I'm so sorry.
Stereotypes in the media are frequently false and negatively characterize underrepresented. I can't say this word. I don't know why. Underrepresented groups, individuals from the stereotyped group, as well as other members of society, might easily internalize these erroneous portrayals. Overall, it has an impact on global opinion and society perceptions of underrepresented groups. And tokenism and typecasting are further defined by the Arab Film and Media Institute. Tokenism occurs when members of minority groups are included solely to create the illusion of a diverse setting. And I think I've seen this so many times, and this well-known strategy does not imply equal representation, but rather a denigrating concept that uses minority characters to achieve a goal.
Oh my god, that is so interesting. I have never thought of that. Right? Wow, that's crazy. Has that actually been done?
Yeah, tokenism happens all the time. I can't think of an example right now. But if you see like characters that are just there, minority characters, I guess, that's just there to create. Oh, I can see it though, you know?
Like Bridgerton?
Well, kind of.
No, but one of the main characters is black, so I guess not.
Well, no. Well, I think Bridgerton is an example of it because it does use like black characters, but it's very whitewashed, you know?
Yeah, also the book has very racist undertones because
Yeah.
one of our favorite YouTubers, Jack Edwards, I think he did a review on that. And yeah,
Definitely. And I feel like learning about this and researching this topic has made me look at movies so much differently. Just everything seems so different now, you know? It's just great. Anyways, in typecasting, in the entertainment industry, typecasting happens when people are frequently cast in parts based on their ability to fit a stereotype. This frequently targets performers from marginalized groups, limiting their opportunities to advance in the business beyond conventional roles. Um, I think this is just stereotypes, and once you fall into that, you can never play another character again, if you know what I mean. Because like once you play a comedy role, or you're gonna like, I feel like all you're gonna get from then on is probably roles involved in like comedic TV shows and sitcoms and stuff. And it's harder to get like serious, more diverse roles.
Yeah, acting as like a drama student as well. Acting is about like you have to like try new things. You're like venturing on like your comfort zones, like outside of like who you are as a person. Imagine being cast for just like being you and like acting and looking like a walking stereotype.
Yeah, it's terrible. Although diversity is a catchphrase in Hollywood, people of color. Oh, sorry. Although diversity is a catchphrase in Hollywood, people of color continue to lag behind white males in terms of full participation. Better strategies are required in Hollywood, and establishing responsibility structures such as particular committees or staff roles and recruiting strategies dedicated to raising representation of people of color can really help studios seek to diversify Hollywood's employment and content and global employment and content. Because I mean, I hate to admit it, but we're all very influenced by media and Hollywood, and by increasing the by sorry by raising representation in Hollywood, I think it will have a global impact on all companies and all jobs and all employments. And according to research, doing so could really increase ethnic diversity in the workplace, particularly at the executive level. As we all know, because people of color are less likely to hold executive levels and get promoted. Hollywood should hire professionals who have a track record of producing material for people of color and casting them in a variety of roles. Professional recruiters are used by most businesses, and Hollywood should follow suit across the board. Behind the scenes, each studio and network should have at least one diverse talent recruiter and a casting director who is trained to discover performers of color and in anti-racial racist procedures. They should have worked with and recruited people from a variety of backgrounds. And studios should really set employment goals for people of color, and both in front of the camera and behind the scenes, based on their percentage of the US population. According to research, one of the most effective methods to diversify workplaces is to create specific hiring targets focused at increasing proportions of people of color. I mean, new hiring should occur semi-annually or even quarterly to increase the amount of people of color in the pipeline. Although many networks organize diversity programs and showcases for underrepresented actors, writers, and directors, networks might even go further by allocating positions to underrepresented groups. Because most diversity writers are fired from their shows after being hired to fill quotas, current diversity programs need to be improved. As with any other important employee, studios should train, mentor, and provide a lengthier trial period for such recruits. In other words, studios television networks must place a high enough value on recruiting people of color that they will continue to support them beyond the original hiring phase. And furthermore, studios and networks should reconsider the term diversity hire, as it is typically connected with the stigma of low qualifications or free labor.
Oh, this is so interesting. I haven't even thought about like the hiring process of like a diverse.
It's just suggestions, I guess, and I thought it's interesting to tell them, because we did really discuss all the things that are going wrong, but these are the things that they should do in terms of making Hollywood and the world a better place, essentially, and create equality.
Yeah.
Networks and studios must also focus on retention in addition to hiring. They should create networking and mentoring initiatives for people of color, which have been shown to improve retention in studies. They should link new black hires with senior executives. This technique has already happened in Grey's Anatomy. You know Grey's Anatomy, the medical show?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to know anything about it.
I haven't watched it. I was like, please don't quiz me on it.
It's like ABC, and it required that Shonda Rhimes, who had no prior television experience, to be paired with more experienced James Perriott. And this approach might be used at all levels and positions because such pairings assist not only newcomers of color in terms of training and mentorship, but also veterans who are exposed to new viewpoints and ideas.
Oh, interesting.
Hollywood could attract.
Interesting is our new catchline.
Hollywood could attract and keep more diverse talent by creating inclusive social networks. Chris Rock credits his success to famous black performers like Eddie Murphy, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Arsenio Hall, who took risks on him. In turn, he assists in the development of other black actors, such as Leslie Jones, and more people of color in important positions and in the pipeline will assist the sector to achieve more racial diversity. In an ever more racially diverse world, Hollywood's ability to include different racial and ethnic groups is pivotal. Industry leaders must take full responsibility for diversity programs. Diversity programs? No, diversity problems. And white elites should not hide shortfalls behind the facade of colorblind tolerance. Demographic changes and an ever-expanding international box office will definitely put pressure on Hollywood to diversify. I'm so sorry, I cannot read today. But not necessarily to overhaul long-standing racially relevant barriers, unless more concerted efforts are made. As Viola Davis stated in her 2015 Emmy Award acceptance speech, quote, if they exist in life, then we should see it on TV. We should see it on stage or on the screen. As many people are out there as many stories that should be being told. And I think it's good. I love her.
That's a great end. That sums it up perfectly.
I really wish I could read that more fluently though, because it is the end, but no. I'm so sorry. But yeah, to end it there, I think it's important that Hollywood really diversifies because we're in 2022. No,
oh my god, don't even say that. I can't deal with it.
And I think it's so important that they really create changes because as we've seen in the statistics, it's so much lower than what it should be. And with the pandemic, everything, like, I feel like we're getting more connected to each other, you know, with, like, Zoom and everything. We've learned to communicate online, and that's, I think, bringing everyone closer. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But something really should happen. That's all I'm saying here. That's it for today, the topic. And now we're on to the fun end, presented by Kara.
The fun end.
Woo!
Yes. So I'm still slightly reeling from some of the information that I've taken in. Can't process that yet.
I guess you'll just see things differently now.
Yeah, I feel like everything is a lie. Like all the movies and TV shows that I've seen that has a diverse cast might not even be a diverse cast. It might just be what is that called? Totem.
Tokenism.
Well, tokenism. Well, everything is a lie. The moon landing was a lie. The Earth is flat.
Yeah. COVID is a lie. It's obviously a lie.
COVID can be spread through 5G. Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fun end. So a guy has undergone 30 cosmetic procedures in order to resemble Ricky Martin, the Latin pop god. Mariano Francisco, during his repeated attempts to appear like the Puerto Rican singer Javier Inventor, confesses to developing an addiction to cosmetic surgery. I realize that this is not funny at all, but because addiction is a really serious thing. He paid £7,290 on Ricky-inspired surgery. Francisco began his cosmetic quest after someone told him he resembled the 70 million selling singer. For Francisco, pursuing such perfection has come at a cost, and he is now trying to maintain control over his connection with cosmetic operations. I just thought that it was really interesting that someone told him that he looked like the singer, and then he decided to literally pay that amount of money for surgery to look like Ricky Martin.
Yeah, I mean,
but floats your boats, right?
It's very interesting how people get surgeries to look like people, like other people, basically. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's great that
I wonder if that's ever happened before, and I wonder if he was successful. I'm sure he was. Like, that's a lot of money. If it wasn't successful, then that guy needs a refund.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, okay, that wasn't the best fun end. I feel like you find much more fun ends than me. I don't know
why. I think it's just I'm just a funny person.
I'll try harder
next time.
You're
just not funny.
That was the best I could do.
You're not funny, Kara. You're just not. You just have
not
to
when it's
admit it that you're not funny.
And you're a child.
I win.
Point proven.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I still win, so it doesn't matter.
What game? What do you win?
The fun end game. Next episode, it's going to be even funnier than that. Okay, it might not be funny this time, but I've been really funny on other episodes, so I think I won.
Yeah. I feel like the third one, not the third one, the first one was really funny. The coke and police officer. Well, it wasn't like funny because someone could have been seriously injured, but
yeah. Oh yeah. The drug bounties or something, was it? The marijuana, like they were high, right?
Yeah.
I think they were like army officers. Anyways, I think that's it for today's episode, and we're ending. So
we hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. We'll see you next week, and feel free to send us a message. Also, you know what? Send us a message on fun ends you would want us to do.
Yes. Oh, please recommend us. Please send links to us. It would help us so much, because it is so hard to find fun ends these days, because no one is taking life funnily. Not seriously. Yeah. I mean, they're just being boring people. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Always yours, Alex and Kara. Bye. See you.
Bye.